Hello viewers and welcome to another episode of the Lord of the Rings The Card Game Progression Series. My name is Mitch.
And my name is Matthew.
And now that we've taken a look at the player cards of the Redhorn Gate, it's time that we play through the scenario. So Matthew, where are we in our ongoing story?
Arwen wishes to visit her father Elrond, and Celeborn has bid the heroes to escort her over the Misty Mountains and safely to Rivendell. But the season grows late, and a sudden chill has descended from the three peaks that guard the Redhorn Pass.
Alright, so for today's scenario, Matthew and I are going to navigate through a few mountains, and we're going to be escorting Arwen Undomiel, an objective ally, as we're in the process of doing so. So, she wants to go sightseeing. Matthew and I are going to be taking her for a spin, and hopefully we're not going to die from the freezing cold or be eaten by orcs in the process. This scenario is all about willpower, kind of representing your strength of will to overcome adversity to prevent yourself from literally freezing to death. So, in taking a look at our decks, it probably comes as no surprise to see some very high willpower heroes. We've got Dane Ironfoot to increase the willpower of all dwarf characters. Bifur is therefore going to have a modified willpower of 3, and as I so often play, here's Eowyn sitting at willpower 4. We've got a lot of nasty locations to dig through. They're going to have a large number of progress tokens required, so the more willpower the merrier, and if we can distribute that among a lot of different characters, we can make sure that no one freezes to death come Quest Phase 3. We've got Bofur, brand new as of the Redhorn Gate, Hammersmith, Record Keeper, Gandalf, Gleowine to draw cards, Hinamarth to be cheap. Matthew and I are both running Northern Trackers. We're both running Ancient Matham for card draw. I've got Forest Snare to deal with some big nasty enemies, and then some readying, some cancellation, some threat control, and then Matthew and I are both running some unconventional events for this scenario specifically. But, Matthew, what do we see from you today?
Well, this quest has some big, beefy enemies, and so I've got, my usual bevy of tactics allies, heroes, of course, Gimli and Thalin, along with Dwalin. So a similar setup to one I had earlier. And a lot of my attachments and events are similar to yours, with a few tactics ones thrown in. Hopefully the Dwarrowdelf axe makes an appearance. I'm kind of hoping to poke some enemies with that axe. Other than that, I also have Shadow of the Pass in my deck, and I'm sure we'll talk about why here in a moment.
Yeah, really the only other noteworthy thing is this Untroubled by Darkness. At Quest Phase 3, any character that has 0 willpower is going to be discarded. This boosts up willpower, so that helps kind of provide a buffer between 1 and 0, because there are some treacheries that we'll talk about that decrease willpower of all characters. So, some interesting stuff, but nothing too out of the ordinary, and even at least one character from the Redhorn Gate Adventure Pack. But I guess, Matthew, now that we've taken a look at our decks, let's shuffle said decks and draw our opening 6 cards. So, draw many, draw 6. My opening hand is interesting. I've got a couple of sneak attacks, no Gandalf in sight, but that is a hell of an event. I'm tempted to hang on to it for that reason alone, but what are you thinking?
I think I'm going to hold on to mine. It's pretty good.
Yeah, yours is none too bad. God, I am really having a little bit of difficulty deciding. I've got Miner of the Iron Hills to get rid of a condition attachment. I've got Gleowine to draw cards. Bofur is awfully good, and I think the likelihood of getting him into play for free is pretty strong. So maybe I'll keep my opening hand, and I'll just hope to draw into some Gandalfs sooner rather than later. But we've decided not to mulligan. So let's go ahead and set up our scenario. Quest Phase 1A, up the pass, Celeborn has bid you escort Arwen to visit her father in Rivendell. Your journey takes you through the Redhorn Gate. So we have to add the unique location Caradhras to the staging area. We remove all copies of a treachery card called Snowstorm from the encounter deck. We've set them aside out of play, and we put Arwen Undomiel into play under the control of the first character. I don't think there's really any difference between whether first player is Matthew or myself. Arwen functions as an objective ally here, 2 willpower. Whenever she exhausts, we pick a hero to gain a resource, which is very Theodred-esque, and if she leaves play, then the players are defeated. So we've got to make sure to mind she doesn't defend, and her 2 willpower can't hit 0 during the final quest phase. Caradhras in the staging area. This is going to be our last obstacle. It's kind of coolly lurking in the far distance. 3 threat, 9 quest points. It's got the snow trait. It's a mountain. A lot of the encounter cards key off of both of those traits. While it's active, which happens during the final quest phase, questing characters get -1 will, which contributes to their potentially freezing. We cannot travel there except by quest card effects. It's got 3 victory points, and to beat today's scenario, we're going to need a total of 5 victory points. The last thing this quest card has us do is reveal 1 card from the encounter deck per player and add it to the staging area. So I'll shuffle our fairly small encounter deck, and let's reveal encounter card number 1 is a copy of Freezing Cold. So the first player, and I'm glad I've got Miner of Iron Hills in my hand, attaches this card to a hero he controls, counts as a condition attachment. The attached hero gets -2 willpower, cannot commit to the quest. If there's more than 1 copy of Freezing Cold, very thematically, the hero is discarded. I think Dane is probably the perfect choice for this attachment. I wasn't really going to be committing him to the quest, and it does not blank his text box. So, encounter card number 2 is going to be a copy of Black Uruks. So this is something that Matthew and I need to be cognizant of. The first player has to choose and discard attachments from a questing character if able. There currently are no questing characters. This is that nice 2 HP where Thalin plus Gondorian Spearman gets rid of it, but Thalin's not committed to the quest, and it's got a nasty 3 defense value. So, looks like we'll have to deal with this traditionally. It is engagement cost 32. Matthew and I are significantly below that number, but that is how we begin the game. So, I suppose, shall we get things started, Matthew?
Let's do it.
All right, so resource phase number 1, draw resources, collect resources, draw 1 card. I'm not exactly blown away by anything I'm holding, and I don't really have the resources for anything yet. Biffer could vacuum resources away from someone, and maybe I will do that. I suppose I'll pull a resource off of Dane, and I'll put it onto Biffer, and I will pull off to put out Erebor Hammersmith for a couple willpower and a couple attack. And I think that's it for me.
Okay.
How about you?
I will pay 1 for the Dwarrowdelf Axe on Gimli. And that's all that I will do.
Okay. I guess Gleowine would have been an additional option for me. I wonder if I should do the Hammersmith or Gleowine instead. I think... Let me actually take that back. My apologies, viewers. I think I want to use Gleowine instead of the Hammersmith. So, you've done Dwarrowdelf Axe. I'm going to hang off on using Gleowine. For committing characters to the quest, we don't have these snowstorms in the encounter deck yet. These are obviously going to be really nasty during that final quest phase because, like Caradhras, each questing character gets -1 willpower, and that's part of the reason why Matthew and I are both running a test of will to make sure that quest phase 3 doesn't spell disaster and snatch victory out from under us. So that is pretty much that for committing characters to the quest. I definitely want to do Arwen and probably Bifur, and that is 5. The average value coming off the encounter deck is something like 3.5, and if it just so happens that we are going to break even or fail the quest, I can do that Bofur trick to try to get him into play for just 1 resource. So I'm okay with 5. I suppose if you make it 7... maybe should we just... Well, I guess I could do Eowyn instead. I am not sure what to do. I guess I could do 6, and you'll make it 8, and then we could just see what happens.
Okay. And before we move any further, who should get Arwen's resource?
Who are you thinking should? Is there anything you're desperately in want of playing?
I mean, I have, a few a few spirit cards that could be worthwhile. Really, my whole hand is good, so it doesn't matter. But if you need it on your side as well, I know you have some lore stuff, although Bifur can steal, so I'm not really sure.
Well, you've got Unexpected Courage, so why don't I maybe give it to Dwalin?
Okay.
Just so that, you'll have the option of doing your own Bofur if you want, or, So I think that's probably a good enough choice here. Cool. And I'm glad to see that Citadel plate in your hand, because some of these enemies hit awfully hard. So I'm going to be doing 6, and you're doing 2, for a total of 8. Let's see what we pull. Encounter card number 1 is going to be a copy of Snow Warg. So this will come and engage with you. Allies can't defend against it, and it automatically deals a point of damage to whatever is defending. Kind of nasty, but not that bad. It only requires a swing of 5 to kill, which I suppose Gimli could manage. If we do a bit of blocking, though we don't have cancellation. Anyway, encounter card number 2 is yet another enemy that's going to be engaging with one of us, and I suppose I could maybe try and take this one. It is Mountain Goblin. So it only has 1 threat. I guess both of these enemies are going to take a point of damage from Thalon. It gets +1 attack for each mountain in the staging area. There is currently 1, so it's going to be attacking for 3. And that is going to be a total of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 threat that we're against. I sent Eowyn to the quest and Arwen. I guess, when I was committing characters to the quest, I forgot that Bofur is going to be counting his own willpower. So that is a bit of a bummer. In that case, I probably should not have sent Eowyn whatsoever. So we're currently looking to lose 1, gain 1 threat. And let's see. Do you have a card that you don't mind throwing away? Or I guess we could throw out Bofur. But I guess, what do you think? Do you care if we gain a point of threat? We've got to deal with 2 enemies no matter what.
Yeah, and the other one's at 32, so that's just going to make him come down even sooner.
Right. So one of us could probably pitch a copy of Bofur.
Yeah.
Oh, and I didn't realize you've got a copy of Quick Strike.
Mm-hmm. I know, I kind of don't want to pitch. I mean, I'm fine playing Bofur straight out, or I'm fine pitching him. It doesn't particularly matter to me.
Yeah, I suppose you're not in desperate need of spirit resources, but then again, neither am I. I suppose, should you go ahead and put out Bofur temporarily, and then we'll end up gaining a couple quest points? Okay, cool. All right, so that is going to be a total of 6 sent to the quest by me, and what is that? 5 sent to the quest by you for 11, and we're up against 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, so we're going to end up making 2 progress on our current quest card, and it looks like that's going to be that for travel. We cannot go to Caradhras for engagement. Snow Warg has to go to you, and then Mountain Goblin is going to be, I suppose I could take it.
Okay.
The only trick is I'm maybe going to, let's see, I guess I could use Gleowine as a chump blocker just to kill it, but then I wouldn't be able to do any card draw. Or you could defend against Dwalin as well. Or, sorry, you could use Dwalin to defend against the Mountain Goblin and use Quick Strike to kill the Snow Warg. What are your thoughts? We don't have a lot of card draw.
Sure. That could work.
Okay, which one? The Dwalin defending?
Sure.
Okay. So we'll say optional engagement, Matthew takes Mountain Goblin, and then mandatory engagement checks, Snow Warg is 28 cost, and Matthew has 29 threat. So he's got both of our enemies. Insofar as drawing cards go, I'm not aware of anything in your deck that you're in desperate need of, so maybe I'll have Gleowine draw myself 1 card. I ended up getting a cancel shadow effect, which is pretty damn good timing.
Yeah.
Okay, let's transition to combat phase. The Snow Warg gets a shadow card, and how do you want to resolve these attacks?
All right, I will do Quick Strike.
Great.
For Gimli against the Snow Warg.
All right, fantastic. So the Snow Warg, Gimli swings for 3 thanks to Dane, 4 because of the Dwarrowdelf Axe, and the Dwarrowdelf Axe automatically deals a point of damage. So it basically just needs 3 to die, and Gimli hits for 4. So it's gone, and its shadow card is just some location, which is now gone. And then next up, we've got our Mountain Goblin here. How do you want to handle this? Okay.
Yep.
Whoops. I did not mean to put a point of damage on it, so it's going to go ahead and hit Dwalin for a base, modified base of 3. And it does not have a shadow card, so that's just going to be 1 point of damage to Dwalin. But there are very, very few direct damage effects in this scenario, so hopefully that's not going to be a big issue there. The Mountain Goblin survives. So, end of combat, I'll discard that shadow card, and then shall we do our refresh?
Sure.
Okay, so refresh. You're now the first player, so I'll give you Arwen. And then for me, I will draw a card. We've increased our threat. We'll do our resources. I ended up getting a song for Biffer, but I don't have Steward of Gondor yet, which would really make that useful.
Okay.
So what are you playing?
I'm going to put Unexpected Courage on Gimli.
Great.
And I will put out... actually, that's all I'm going to do.
Okay. So let's see. If I can get out Beaufort, great. If not, no big deal. And we probably don't want to gain any threat because of these black Uruks posing a small issue. I think I'll have Gleowine draw me a card now, just because I've got... Okay. I drew Steward of Gondor, which would be great for next turn. And the more cards I draw, the closer I get to Sneak Attack Gandalf, which would be great for Mountain Goblins or Mountain Wargs. Insofar as putting out characters, I've got Cancel Wind Revealed, I've got Cancel Shadow, I don't need to worry about Freezing Cold yet. Let's see, I could do an Erebor Hammersmith. That doesn't necessarily seem extremely necessary, but I could still do it. Why don't I pull one resource off of Eowyn, add a resource to Bifur. I will strip both of those resources off, and now I will do Erebor Hammersmith, which could potentially survive a mountain goblin attack, I guess.
Okay.
And now I'll have enough resources for either Test of Will or Hasty Stroke, but not both. But anyways, I guess that's that. Committing characters to the quest, who do you want to do?
I'll do Thalon and Arwen.
Okay, so I'll exhaust Arwen for you. For her resource, I could probably...
I was going to give it to Dwalin again in case we needed cancellation, although I suppose...
So if I get
You
it,
have it.
I've got the flexibility of Bofur and or Test of Will and or Hasty Stroke. So I should maybe toss that to Eowyn, I think.
Sure.
Okay. And then Dane, I guess, is another option. Okay, yes, I think Eowyn is probably wisest. Although, it really doesn't matter at all. Do you want it? I don't really care one way or the other. Although I guess if I'm going to be drawing more cards through Gleowine, maybe I should get it.
It's fine.
Okay, alright, so anyway, that is that. You're sending those to the quest. We're currently up against 5 threat. Maybe I'll send each of these. Oh, we don't want to make a ton of progress. So you're sending 4. I can make it 8. I'll send Bifur as well. Well, no, I wouldn't mind getting out Bofur. Okay, anyway, I think I'll just send 4, and with you that's going to be 8 if we do Bofur, great. Okay, let's see what we pull. So, encounter card number 1 is going to be a location, Turbulent Waters. While it's active, we cannot optionally engage enemies, which I guess is fine. But it's a mountain, so it makes this mountain goblin hit harder. Encounter card number 2 is going to be Knees of the Mountain. So while it's in the staging area, after an enemy engages, it gets +1 attack until the end of the round, which isn't really that big of a deal. And we can travel there. So that is going to be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 threat that we're up against. We've sent 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to the quest. So if I do Bofur, we will still pass by 1, which is a bummer, but I think I might as well do it just to make sure that we don't fail the quest. So I'll do Bofur. We'll end up making 1 progress. And then, let's see here. We've quested successfully. Bofur returns to hand. He's a little bit trickier to keep in play than I remember. But, oh well. For travel, do we want to go... Which of these do we want to go to?
Maybe the 3 threat one.
Sure, because I wasn't exactly intending to optionally engage with anything. I can only do 4 damage to the Black Uruks as opposed to killing them outright. Although, let's see. Yeah, I suppose that's kind of the way things have to be. Okay, so Turbulent Waters, let's make that the active location. Okay, so that is currently active. Combat phase. Here's a shadow card for this guy. How do you want to deal with Mountain Goblin?
I'll have Gimli defend.
Alright, so Gimli is going to defend for each mountain location in the staging area. There are currently 2, so it's going to be swinging for 4, but it could potentially power up Gimli, which is by no means a bad thing. Avalanche. So I think this is a 1 copy card, but no shadow effect, so Gimli's going to take a couple of points of damage. And then it's all you to finish the job.
And I'll hit with Gimli and Dwalin.
Okay, cool. And yeah, Dwalin, I guess, is actually destroying an orc, so you're going to be able to drop your threat.
Mm-hmm.
And, gosh, I guess Gimli swings 5, 6, the Dwarrowdelf axe itself procs, Dwalin adds to that. So that's a very dead mountain goblin. You've reduced your threat. I don't have any actions that I would like to use. I suppose let's just refresh.
Okay.
All right, so refresh, new round. I'm once again the first player. Arwen returns to my arms. I'll draw one card. I got another garbage copy of Steward of Gondor. Let's see. For me, I'll do 2 resources, and I will do Steward of Gondor on Bifur, and now we can pretty much have...
Well, didn't we say we wanted to put it on Eowyn or Dwalin? I mean, not that Bifur's not the right choice, but since he can always pull resources, he seems like...
let me actually check that. It was Dwalin or Eowyn, you're quite right.
Yeah.
The reason why I was going to pick him is because I also have a Song of Travel in my hand that I was going to drop out. So I think I will use that on him, and then I'll just basically focus Arwen exclusively on Dwalin, and I think that should work out pretty well. Although, yeah, Bifur can vacuum stuff. Okay, why don't I actually do this? So I'll do Steward on you, and then, yeah, Bifur can vacuum stuff over.
Cool.
All right, so I've subtracted my resources for that, and then I can, let's see, I've got Bofur in hand, and I've got those cancellations. Okay, I don't think I want to pay to get out my minor yet again. I'll have Gleowine trigger on myself. Okay, I will pay 1 for Ancient Matham, and I will go ahead and put that on our active location here. Okay, and I think I'm good doing that.
Okay.
So how about you?
I'm going to put Citadel Plate on Gimli.
Beautiful.
Oops. And then I have another unexpected courage at this point, and I'm debating who it's best on, Thalin or Dwalin.
Well, let's see. I guess it doesn't really make too
or
much
even Gimli
difference.
Again,
Yeah, it probably would be best on Gimli, honestly. Although I don't really see you ever being engaged with multiple enemies. But...
I mean, I just was, but...
well, I mean, from this point.
Right. Let's do Dwalin. I can quest with him and then, or get multiple threat drops or whatever.
Sure.
So I'll put it on him.
Okay. Sounds totally reasonable, and you've still got 1 resource for if we need Bofur or cancellation. Mm-hmm. And now, I guess we're just gonna kind of keep going without accumulating without going too quickly through our encounter deck here.
Right.
So I do want to try to get rid of our active location if we can manage it, though. So for me, I'm going to send... Let's see, 2, 6, 7, 8 willpower to the quest, and we're currently up against 7.
Okay.
So what are you sending? A total of 4?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and we'll see if I do Bofur. I wonder if I should send my Hammersmith or not. I don't think it really matters. Yeah, I don't think it matters. Let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If we reveal maybe 11, we're still going to make 1 progress, and then if necessary, we can discard cards or do Bofur. Okay, I think I'm good. So, encounter card number 1. Whoops. I guess it did its little glitch thing where it moved. Well, you know what I mean. Okay, so Freezing Cold has been revealed. The first player attaches this to a card. It's a conditioned attachment where the attached hero cannot commit to a quest, but it will still count as being committed to a quest. So I think I want to put this on Bifur for the time being.
Okay.
But that doesn't change our willpower total. Oh, for Arwen, who do you think should get that resource?
Well, it would, because he gets -2.
Oh, you're correct. Yes, so let me drop my willpower total.
You're fine taking the resource, whoever you would like.
Let's see. And for whatever reason, I did my math in an odd way. I'll throw that resource from Arwen to Eowyn. Apologies for the small delay in realizing that. I could cancel this treachery, but I don't want to. I've got other ways of dealing with it. So anyways, I'll recalculate my willpower in just a moment, but freezing cold is on Biffer. We also end up revealing a copy of Rocky Crags, and to travel, we have to have some direct damage dealt to characters we control, but this is the only source of direct damage in the entire encounter deck, so we could even put that damage on Dwalin or be ballsy like that. So we're up against 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 threat. I've sent a modified 7. I hope I've been doing Biffer's math right. So 7 for me, and then you made that 11, so we're going to break even, but I would really like to clear this active location. So I will spend a resource to put Bofur into play to spare you from having to do so. He's committed to the quest, so we're going to end up making an additional 1, 2, 3.
We could have canceled freezing cold. I don't know what I was thinking at the time. It doesn't say can't be canceled.
Yeah, right. I just, we're just going to want as many copies of A Test of Will as we can manage for that final quest phase.
Okay.
And I've got at least 1 minor, and I'll hopefully draw into more.
Cool.
And even if Biffer is locked down forever, I think we've got a good enough grasp on the encounter deck that we're going to be doing okay.
Okay.
All right, so Bofur returns to hand. Our active location is going to be explored. Ancient Matham is going to be discarded. And myself, first player, ends up drawing 3 cards, one of which is Gandalf, and now I have 3 sneak attacks in my hand, which is crazy. For travel, do we want to go to the Rocky Crags?
Well, I was thinking of engaging the Black Uruk this turn, and if we went to Knees of the Mountain, it wouldn't have that force effect.
Yeah.
Which is maybe not the end of the world, but swinging for 4 is pretty tough.
Let's see here. Yeah, 4 does. I guess Gimli's still got quite the pool of HP. I could... Well, it seems like a kind of a waste of Gandalf just to kill the Black Uruks.
Yeah.
If he's not doing anything else.
And I can soak up that damage probably better next turn. I can just put an ally into play or something.
Right, and I guess neither of our threats are so high that we really need to worry about the Black Uruks yet. Although if you were to attack, he's got 4. Gimli still has 7 HP. And he does defend for 2. And you're going to want as much damage as you can get so that you can destroy mountain trolls. It probably wouldn't be the worst thing if you just defend against the Black Uruk's attack, and then you can have Dwalin, drop your threat by an additional 2 points. Knees of the Mountain... I guess it really doesn't matter too much. I just know that for Rocky Crags, it's not as if any of the damaged characters are going to be at risk of being destroyed. But Knees of the Mountain, we could just get rid of because it's kind of like a weird unknown quantity or complicating thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's, I guess, travel to Knees of the Mountain. Maybe we'll stumble into Northern Trackers sooner rather than later. So, Knees of the Mountain is going to be active. For combat, you said you wanted the Black Uruks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they've got a shadow card. What do you want to do?
Let's defend Gimli.
All right, so Gimli is going to defend. Dwalin is readied. Defending player must discard 2 resources from each hero. So you've only got 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it would be just as expensive to use a hasty stroke, so we'll let that resolve. I guess Gimli just takes 1 point of damage from the Uruks. And,
yep.
I guess... what do you want to do in response?
And then I will swing with Gimli and Dwalin.
Great. So, obviously those 2 deal way more than enough to kill the Uruks. You get to decrease your threat. And I suppose we can now move on with our lives.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so refresh. You are once again first player, Arwen. I guess changes her mind about how she feels about me. Kind of representing every woman on the planet. And let's see. Do the resources for all the heroes. And first player, what do you want to do?
Would Biffer like a resource?
Let me think about that. Yeah, I think he could stand to benefit from that kind of thing.
Okay, we'll take one off Dwallin.
Thank you.
I'm going to take one off for Ancient Madam.
Great.
And then, hoping we clear this location, I will put a Veteran Axe Hand out just so he can be the person that I kill when we travel there.
Person that you kill.
Like if we travel to Racky Crags.
Oh, well, that's why I was saying there's no reason. Like,
I know,
for example, I could do Aowen.
No, we both have to do it.
Yeah, no, I know. But I'm just saying, like, Aowen at 1 hit point is just as likely to not die. Literally, the only effects in the entire encounter deck that deal direct damage are just, I think, 2 copies of Rocky Crags. But anyway.
I'd rather do an ally than a hero, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, but man, it's a 3-attack ally. And it's got a willpower. I don't know. But anyway.
He's going to die at the end anyway.
Yeah. If he commits to the quest before we do Untroubled by Darkness is the only reason that he would die, though.
Yeah.
But anyways, let's see. Okay, for me, I'll do 2 resources off of Biffer for Miner of the Iron Hills, and I will target the Freezing Cold that's attached to Dane, just because he cannot die under any circumstance. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that attachment there. Or, gosh, it's almost tempting to sneak attack the Miner or something. But I've got additional...
You can get rid of both of them.
Yeah, I don't really need that many copies of sneak attack. That is an interesting idea.
I say go for it.
Okay, so let me cancel that. I'll re-add a couple resources to Biffer. I'll return that gun in my hand, and so far as what I'm actually going to play, I'll spend 1 resource off of Biffer for a Song of Travel, so he now counts as having a spirit resource icon as well. And I think I'm good with that. All right. So
you're not sneaking in the Miner?
I was going to do it during the quest phase, just so I'll have an additional point of willpower.
I see. Cool.
Yeah. Okay, so I think that's it for me. Okay. Yeah, let's do quest phase.
And I'll send Arwen as well.
All right. So I will do my little sneak attack trick, and it enters play. I will pick the Freezing Cold here on Dane and get rid of that. And I'll get rid of my event. And, okay, so you're sending a total of 6.
Mm-hmm.
And Arwen's resource.
No, I'm sending a total of 4. Oh, no, yes, she is too, sorry. Would you like it?
Let me see. I could certainly use it. You don't have anything too crazy in your hand. Mm-hmm. And I think Glaewine should probably start having you maybe do a little bit of card draw. Why don't I just put it on Biffer? I think he's probably my most... Well, actually, I'll put it on Dane, just in case something awful comes off the top of the encounter deck, so we can do sneak attack.
Okay.
Yeah, nice that the hero doesn't need to be committed to the quest or anything like that. Alright, so for my committing characters, I'll do 4, 5, 6, 7, And we're up against 7. So I'm good with what I've sent, and I guess reveal cards.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, encounter card number 1 is going to be Warg Lair. So search the encounter deck and discard pile for a copy of Mountain Warg, add it to the staging area, and then shuffle the encounter deck. This might convince me to play Gandalf, but we will see. Oh, I guess the next card was Mountain Warg. So this has the frustrating effect where if it's dealt a shadow card with no effect, it's returned to the staging area. So it's got 4 HP. I know a card that can deal 4 points of damage. But let's see what else we get. Encounter card number 2 is going to be Bitter Winds. So the first player has to discard 3 resources from each hero he controls. Let's see. If that happens, I'm not going to be able to do... Do you know if we've used Biffer's... Okay. So if I let Bitter Winds resolve, I'm going to be wiped clean of resources. But is that big of a deal? The Mountain Warg you could deal with. Let's see. I've got 2 Test of Will, you've got a Test of Will. I think there's no harm in canceling this. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and spend 1 resource for Test of Will. I was trying to remember if I've used Biffer's Resource Vacuumer yet for the turn, and I could not. So I need to pay attention to that in the future. So Test of Will, that's canceled. We are going to be up against 3, 4, 5, 7, 10 threat in total. But I think I'm going to go ahead and pay 1 resource for Sneak Attack.
Enough! I am Gandalf, and Gandalf means me!
And I will drop out Gandalf, and Gandalf is going to kill our Mountain Warg.
Cool.
So that's gone. At the end of quest phase, Gandalf is going to bounce back to my hand. So I've sent 7 willpower, and you've got 6, so 13, 12, 8, 5. We're going to make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Total progress. Knees of the Mountain is going to be explored. Ancient Matham will trigger, and you'll get to draw 3 cards. I guess if we really wanted to, Beaufort would allow us to clear our current quest phase, but I don't think there's any need to do that urgently. Okay, so for travel, do we want to do the Rocky Crags?
Sure.
Okay, so Rocky Crags, I'll make that active. For damaging characters, I think I'll do a couple of points to... Yeah, I think I'll do a couple of points to Eowyn. And I think Thalin would be a pretty reasonable option for you. Either Thalin or Dwalin. Honestly, Dwalin might be a little bit better just because Thalin has a greater HP to do like an undefended attack. And just to check the encounter deck, there are only... Let's see, Rocky Crags, there are 3 copies throughout the encounter deck.
Okay, I'm going to put it on Ghibli.
Okay, I guess that works too. So that is that. There's no combat. As soon as we explore the Warg lair, we get to draw a card.
Now, did you sneak the miner? Does he need to go back to your hand?
Yes. Yes, I did. So
Cool.
He is back in my hand. Thank you for catching that. Gandalf is also back in my hand. Okay, Gleowine, I think since I'm closer to maybe doing Northern Tracker, I'll have myself draw 1 card. I got another copy of our Wizard Buddy. Okay, and I guess now let's refresh. So, Control R, I will regain control of Arwen, and now let's do our resources after boosting our threat. I've drawn one of my copies of Untroubled by Darkness, and when we get to that final quest phase, this is going to allow Matthew and I to make a giant quest push to hopefully surmount Caradhras while it's decreasing the willpower of all of our questing characters. So that's great to see. As first player, I suppose I'll spend 2 resources to do Miner of the Iron Hills to get rid of this freezing cold attachment. And I think that's good for me.
Okay. I'm not going to play anything.
All right.
Would you like Biffer to take a resource?
I'm trying to think about that. So I've got plenty of cancellation. Let's hold off for the time being, because it's action speed. So for committing characters, we might as well push through our current quest phase. I've got plenty of wizards to adjust the enemies in the staging area if need be. We're only up against 4 threat, but I think I'll send quite a lot. I'll do 2, 5, 9, 11. And you're doing your 4. Okay, so encounter card number 1 is going to be return the top 2 snow cards in the encounter discard pile to the top of the encounter deck. So the top 2 snow cards. So freezing cold is 1, and the other is another copy of freezing cold. Okay, to the top of the encounter deck. Oh, but then we don't shuffle it. That sucks.
Yep.
Okay, well, that's kind of actually really weird. Okay, but that's on top of the encounter deck, and then the other one is on top of the encounter deck, so let's go ahead and delete that. And then for revealing a card, we get, of course, a copy of Freezing Cold. I am the first player. I think I might... I don't really want to cancel it, because I want to be able to cancel snowstorms. So I think I will put it on Eowyn for the time being. And I'll just let that hang out on her. And that has been our staging.
And then you need to adjust your willpower total, unfortunately.
Yep, down to 9. So it's going to be a total of 13, 12, I guess 10 is how many progress we're going to end up making. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 total. So Rocky Crags is gone. Our quest card is going to be explored. So we're going... Well, did we give a resource to a character from Arwen?
I don't think you did.
Okay. So we missed that trigger. There was no reason not to give it to Biffer, so I'm just going to go ahead and toss it over there. I had enough resources to cancel anything, so if we weren't recording a video, there's no way that I would have missed that. So again, I apologize, dear viewers, but Matthew and I are in a weirdly contrived scenario here. But anyways, we're going to move on to Snowdrifts. This is progress slows as you meet the fury of the mountains. Sudden snows fall heavy around you, and a bitter wind howls down from the peaks. You uncover a shallow depression in the snow filled with frozen remains. Some of them bear strange markings as if they had been burned with flame. How many other doomed souls lie beneath the quickly rising drifts? So I think you alluded to this when we did our Khazad Doom playthrough, but this is actually kind of a tip of the hat to, I guess, what canonically happened to the party of adventurers that went exploring the depths of Moria. Anyway, now it's going to be 11 quest points. When revealed, shuffle one more copy of Snowstorm into the encounter deck than the number of players in the game, and after placing the final progress token, we get rid of any active location. Caradhras becomes the active location. So Matthew and I plus 1 is 3. Does that say shuffle them in? Yep. Yeah, so I guess Freezing Cold isn't guaranteed to show up anymore. So that's gone. And now 11 quest points before we move on to Quest Phase 3. So for travel, I guess we may as well go to the Warg lair, or we could just leave it in the staging area, but it will help us draw cards. I think, let's see... you and I, who should draw some cards? What do you think? Which of us should get a card from Gleowine?
Oh, I don't know if it matters.
I guess you've got a higher probability of getting untroubled by darkness, so I'll have you draw a card.
Citadel Plate.
Not so much. Oh well, one closer. Okay, so we might as well refresh, though.
Mm-hmm.
So Control R, you are first player. My threat is now 32, that threshold for the Black Uruks. I'll draw a card, another copy of Gleowine. I'll do my resources. And what do you want to do?
Would you like Biffer to get a resource?
Yeah, I suppose I will, because
Okay.
you're getting quite the stockpile there.
Yeah. I could play Gandalf, but I could have him draw me some cards, I suppose.
Yeah, you could do that.
Let's do that. No
Sure.
reason not to.
Enough. I am Gandalf, and Gandalf means me.
All right.
And then I will draw 3.
Great. That's probably his least often used effect, the way you and I play.
Interesting. Well,
You
didn't
got-
draw anything really fantastic, but it's alright.
Why don't I have you draw one additional card?
Jeez, I got 2 Feints and 2 Galadrim's Greetings.
Well,
Oh.
I guess enemies are going to be of no concern whatsoever.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if we should try and push through yet with only one untroubled by darkness. There's probably not a lot of reason not to, though.
Yeah.
But we also do need victory points before we can beat the scenario, so there's no reason to go too quickly yet.
Yeah.
We have to find the other location, either Fanwadal or Celebdil. Okay, so I guess we may as well keep kind of taking it slow, which is a bummer. I suppose that's it for your planning?
Yep.
Okay, for me, I will not plan anything. And
Okay.
for questing, I suppose I'll do 5.
I'll do 6 if you exhaust Arwen for me.
Sure.
And I'll give... dwell on the resource.
Okay. So let's see what happens. I guess that would be a total of 11. Why don't I maybe back off slightly? So I will do... Let's see. If I just send Biffer, that's 3, and you would make it 7. And then I'll just do Bofer if necessary. And discard... Well, I guess Eowyn isn't committed to the quest. Okay, I'll just send 3 and let's see what happens, I guess.
Okay.
Okay, so encounter card number 1 is going to be the Dimril Stare, which only has 1 victory point, but it is kind of cool. Oh, discard all copies of Freezing Cold from play. Interesting, so that might be worth kind of hanging on to. And that's a big, long effect. I won't bother reading. So it's 2 threat, and counter card number 2 is going to be a copy of the first player, can remove all progress tokens from play, or reveal 2 cards from the encounter deck and add them to the staging area. So this was a card I actually looked up before we started the video, and removing all progress tokens 0 is technically a value that falls within all, so it's not like you have to remove at least 1 progress token. You could do that first option and basically cheese this card, is what Caleb has reported to players, but we also want encounter cards so that we can, find those victory point locations. So do you think we should choose to reveal some additional cards?
Let's make it exciting. Reveal 2 cards.
All right, so card number 1, each questing character gets -1 willpower until the end of the phase, and
Boom.
then encounter card number 2 is going to be this troll here. So I've technically only committed 2 to the quest.
I now have a modified 3.
Okay, so that is going to be a total of 5, and So the way that this is phrased, each questing character gets -1 willpower until the end of the phase. It does not say each character currently in the staging area. So what I'm going to do is I'll spend a resource off of Eowyn to do Bofur. He's committed to the quest. He's going to be sending a modified 2 willpower because it's -1 +1 from Dane. So I've got a total of 4. You've got, what was yours, 3?
Mm-hmm.
Right, so a total of 7, and we're up against 7. So we're going to break even. Snowstorm is gone, and Bofur is going to remain in play.
Okay.
All right. But unfortunately, we don't make any progress on our Warg layer, if that matters.
Right.
And this mountain troll is going to sit out here until we decide to deal with it.
I'll go ahead and take him.
Okay, so it is, let's see, for each mountain in play, so it's attacking for, or each mountain in the staging area, so it's got an attack value of 6. It gets a shadow card.
Mm-hmm.
I wish these
Gandalf
guys
will defend.
had victory points. All right. So Gandalf defends. Its shadow card
No!
is one of our victory point locations. Where are you, Shadow of the Past? Although maybe we'll get lucky and we'll draw one. Who knows? Okay, so Gandalf takes a couple of points of damage. This troll can't even kill Gandalf. What a scrub. And then how do you want to return fire?
Gimli and Dwallin.
Okay, so Dwallin is
And the
3.
accent, why not?
Gimli, I guess Dwallin is 3. Veteran Axe Hand is 6. Gimli makes it 9. Gimli's damage makes it 14. The Dwarrowdelf Axe makes it 15. +1 is 16, which is more than enough. So the Mountain Troll is very killed. And Celebdil is going to be discarded after the Snow Troll thing is killed.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's refresh and hope that we get a Shadow of the Past. So Gandalf is going to be discarded. First player token goes to me. Arwen transitions to my team. Let's do our resources. I'll draw 1 card, which was not Shadow of the Past.
Same.
I'll have Gleowine draw myself a card, which is Shadow of the Past.
Wow.
That is
awesome.
great. I don't like including strictly unnecessary cards, but I feel very happy to have done this because our first playthrough Redhorn Gate 5 years ago was the longest video to date in the progression series. So I think I will go ahead and do, let's do 1, 2 resources to do Shadow of the Past. So top card of the encounter discard pile goes to the top of the encounter deck. And now all we've got to do is do a little bit of exploring here. So,
That was pretty lucky.
yeah, big time. So that is now gone. And for planning, I've got Bofur. I don't think I want to do Gandalf yet. I'm not going to do anything. How about you?
I will put a Dwarrowdelf Axe on Dwallin.
Okay,
Because why not?
sure.
I've got a bevy of eagles and Gondorian spearmen, but I don't think that they're really necessary.
I guess the Spearman could get rid of the Uruks.
Yeah, I suppose my resources are just sitting here otherwise.
Right.
And I could lower some threat. I don't know if that matters.
Probably not at this point. I'm at 33, you're at 29. The Black Uruks, when they're revealed, it's discarding 1 attachment from a questing character, which isn't that big of a deal. I was thinking it might be 2 or something. Anything else from you?
Nah, that's it.
Alright, so I've got my wizards, my sneak attacks, untroubled, all sorts of good stuff. We're doing just fine without Barivore. For committing characters to the quest, we definitely do want to try to clear our active location here. So I will send... Let's see, but we don't want to send too much. But I can do 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And you could make it 14.
And don't forget Arwen's resource.
Yeah. Could you use it on one of your tactics characters, maybe?
Not really.
Okay. I'll just go ahead and add it onto the pile that Biffer has. Okay. So, I wonder if that is too much. No, it's fine. Okay. So let's go ahead and reveal a couple encounter cards. Encounter card number 1 is, to no one's surprise, going to be Celebdil, which we're going to want to explore as quickly as we can. Encounter card number 2 is going to be a copy of Snowstorm. So let's do some careful math here. So we're up against 5, 6, 7 threat. If we let Snowstorm resolve, then I'm sending 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to the quest. And you would make it 8.
Uh-huh.
And we would need 2 additional willpower that I don't know how we would get.
Yeah.
So I guess... That seems like a little bit of a bummer to cancel Snowstorm, but I think in the interest of just kind of speeding things up, I think I want to.
Okay.
Because we each have Test of Will. If only Eowyn were sent to the quest, but oh well. So I'll spend a resource, and I'll do Test of Will to cancel it. Hopefully we don't regret that decision. So that is going to mean that I'm sending 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You make it 14, 11, 9, 6, working backwards. So 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. Warg Lair is explored. We each get to draw 1 card. I ended up getting another worthless Steward of Gondor.
Kazad.
Oh, that's kind of unnecessary the way things are going.
Mm-hmm.
I guess let's travel to Celebdil.
I was thinking the other one, but sure.
Well, what, the Dimmerl Stair?
No, I was kidding.
Okay, good. I was going to think less of you, Matthew. All right, Celebdil is...
I mean, reducing our threat by 11 and discarding Freezing Cold's kind of fun, though.
Yeah, it is, but...
No, I mean, I'm not voting for it, but it's kind of a cool effect.
It is cool, and just for the sake of saying it, not that I've played Redhorn Gate a lot, but I've never... Actually, I may have had that effect resolve one time. In our 2-hour marathon video, I don't think we were so fortunate as to have that resolve. But in any case, that's the active location. I guess, shall we refresh?
Yeah, so this is an interesting one, because we basically want to try to get through it really quickly, because it removes progress from itself.
Yeah, so now we may as well just start questing for realsies. So I will make you first player, you get Arwen, let's do our resources. My threat is now 34, yours is 30. This program does that automatically for us. I got another character that I can use for some willpower.
Unfortunately, I don't. So I could again play some Eagles, I could play another Citadel Plate. I don't know that any of that is necessary. Do you want a resource for Biffer? Or I could lower your threat?
Sure. Why don't you take it, maybe just from Dwalin, yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. I don't think there's any need to lower my threat quite yet. And then, it would not hurt to put another Citadel Plate on Gimli just to make sure there's no... Well, and that's not really necessary either, because you've got Quick Strike, you've got Feint.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess we're both fine.
Yeah, the only issue will be is if we lose our resources, I suppose.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and have you draw 1 card, see if you get untroubled.
I did indeed.
Beautiful. So that sets us up really nicely for the following turn. Any other plays for you, planning-wise?
No, I think I'm alright.
Okay. Wonder if I should do Gandalf this turn just to ensure that we're able to make it through stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, let's say planning. I will drop a Sigil Minor into play. And that is it. So, for questing, I just have 1 copy of Sneak Attack left. I think I'll maybe do 1, 2, 3, 4, I'll do this. I'll do those 5. Sorry, I guess before we move into questing, I will play Gandalf.
Enough! I am Gandalf, and Gandalf means me!
And for my effect, I will go ahead and draw 3 cards.
Cool.
And I will... Okay, I've got a record keeper now, too. I suppose I'll toss out a record keeper. And let me shift all these guys down. Let's see. What is the topmost attachment in your discard pile?
Probably Ancient Matham.
Okay, and it definitely is from mine.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. But you can no longer play cards. Right. So what I want to do is I will do 1, 2 for Erebor Hammersmith. I will bounce my topmost attachment, Ancient Matham, to hand, and then I will play it with a resource off of Eowyn. So that is going to be attached to Celebdil. Okay, and now with all that said and done, we are finally on to questing. So who are you committing?
I will send 6.
Okay.
And you can take Arwen's resource if you like.
Sure. I've suddenly feel myself at a distinct lack of resources. So we're up against 5 threat. We've got to make at least... I want to make as much progress as basically as possible. So I'm going to send a lot of characters. In fact, I think I want to send pretty much everybody.
Okay.
Even though it's probably not strictly necessary, I don't really feel in the mood for math. So let's see what we reveal. Encounter card number 1 is going to be a copy of Rocky Crags. Encounter card number 2 is going to be a copy of Mountain Warg. Takes a point of damage from Thalon.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see. So 2, 6, 7, 8. Total of 11 threat. I've sent 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 16, 17, 18, 19 to the quest. You make that 25. So that's going to be a total of 14 progress. So that is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Is there anything that we can do to modify willpower? I really don't want to play Untroubled by Darkness just to get rid of that.
Yeah. We'll just have to take another turn.
Yeah, what a bummer. Oh well.
You can do Dimwell Stare.
That's how the cookie crumbles. Alright, so Celebdil is added to the victory display. That means we've got 2 points. And Ancient Matham is going to trigger. That's 3 cards for you.
Yeah.
And anything...
another Untroubled by Darkness.
Alright, well, that's good. Let's see. So Dimwell Stare we don't want to do because that'll get rid of our locations in the victory display.
Oh, yes.
But Rocky Crags we definitely want to. So let's make Rocky Crags active. I will damage Gandalf. And how about yourself?
Thalon.
I guess, yeah, Thalon's an option, the Gondorian Spearman. It doesn't matter one way or the other. Okay, so we've done that. For engagement, would you like the Mountain Wargs?
Sure.
Become engaged to a Mountain Warg. All the kids are doing it. How do you want to defend against it?
Gondorian Spearman.
Alright, so Gondorian Spearman, which is going to die at Quest Phase 3 anyway. Let's see that shadow card. Hey, it does have an effect, and it's going to be +2 to attack. So it swings for 6. The Gondorian Spearman is dead, and it's going to remain engaged with you.
Yep. And then I will swing with the team.
Alright, so that is probably enough damage to end up killing the Mountain Warg.
Mm-hmm.
Mountain Warg is going to be gone. Its shadow card is gone. Unfortunately, it's not a goblin.
Yep.
Oh,
I got a little overzealous there.
It's all good, man. These things happen. You wouldn't believe what I do when I get too excited unexpectedly.
Oh, jeez.
So That was a premature ejaculation joke, people. All right, so refresh phase.
All right.
I'm first player. Arwen Undomiel comes to me. I'm now at 35 threat. I will draw a card, which is Northern Tracker. Not the most useful thing in the world now. But I guess it'll give us a point on stupid Caradhras. Okay, I will have Gleowine draw myself a card, which is a forest snare, as if our mountain trolls were a concern. I will do 1, 2, 3, 4. Do you mind giving Biffer a resource just for safety's sake?
Sure.
Thank you. So I'll drop out Northern Tracker. Gandalf is discarded at the end of the round. A little bit sloppy there as our board state gets more and more complicated, but I think that's fine. And I'm not going to be doing anything else now.
I could lower our threats by 6 each.
Yeah, I guess you could. It's not like you're really doing anything else with resources.
Let's do it. I'll play 2. 1 for you, 1 for me.
All right, so I'm down to 29. You're down to 25.
You know we care about score.
Oh, for sure, man. I'm right there with you. Okay. Committing characters to the quest. I'll have Arwen throw, a resource to Biffer. And, so all we really need to do is make 1 progress, but I definitely want that progress. Northern Tracker's going to put a point on Caradhras and the Dimmeril Stair, and then I'm pretty much just going to send a whole ton of characters.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think I'm good with what I've sent. I'll add that up in just a moment. Encounter card number 1 is going to be Bitter Winds. So this is me discarding resources from all of my characters. I guess technically we probably should have had Biffer wait to receive that resource from you. But, oh well, it's fine. Did you say you've got 2 copies of Untroubled by Darkness in hand?
I do.
Okay, and I've got just 1 test of will. But you have got 2 tests of will. So next turn, you could potentially drop both of those and ensure that a double snowstorm doesn't completely annihilate us. So I'm okay losing my resources, long story short, and I'll be able to play Untroubled by Darkness next turn. So I'm going to go ahead and let that resolve. Goodbye, Mitch's resources. Bitter Winds is gone. Encounter card number 2 is going to be a copy of Snowstorm. So I guess now we have to do a little bit of math. We're up against 5 threat. We only need to make, 3 progress? So I guess I've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 sent to the quest. You would make that 11?
Modified? Yeah, I'm adding 2.
Yeah. Okay, and we're only up against 5, so we would make 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's just let Snowstorm resolve. Nothing bad happens. Oh, actually, wait. It's until the end of the phase, and we would have to...
Which would be?
Automatically discard characters that have 0 willpower.
Why is that?
So Snowstorm is going to persist until the end of the phase. I'm trying to think... So if we make enough progress to do Snowdrifts, and then we transition to our 3rd quest card...
Oh, I see.
I wonder... Because that would affect... It would well, I guess it would...
I mean, we have overkill on...
It would just kill the Northern Tracker, which I'm okay with.
Wouldn't it kill my heroes as well, since they're at 1? And then Caradhras is going to make everybody -1.
That's only questing characters, and they are considered committed to the quest until the end of the phase.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, okay, so it probably would... So this is actually some...
Right, because we're still in the phase even when we transition cards.
Right, so I do...
Quest cards.
I think that your concern...
Let's just cancel the damn thing.
Yeah, that's basically what I was trying to say.
All right.
All right. So, anyways, it's little things like that make LOTR a tricky game, but I think Matthew and I are in the right in being cautious here. And I guess that actually would have killed Arwen as well, because she's questing and Snowstorm would have resolved, and then that means we would have been defeated and lost the scenario. So that's no good. So anyways, long story short, that is our active location is now gone. Snowdrifts is going to be very, very gone. I won't add any additional progress tokens, but it's, I guess, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I guess there's like 8 more progress on it than there should have been. And now we transition to quest phase 3A.
Caradhras needs to be active. It technically should have been when we put the 11th progress on it.
Right. So... Thank you very much, Matthew, for your attention to detail. Yes, so it says, after placing the 11th progress token, so I placed 11 too many. Forgive me, dear viewers. Discard any active location. Caradhras becomes the active location. While it's the active location, questing characters get -1 willpower. Characters are considered committed to the quest until the end of the phase. We are now traveled to Caradhras, and now we transition to quest phase 3A. The mountain peaks are almost in reach, but the swirling snows make it difficult to see, and your strength begins to drain away with the daunting final push to the pinnacle. So let's flip that over, shuffle all copies of Snowstorm in the discard pile back into the encounter deck. Characters are discarded from play if their willpower is ever 0. So let's do a real quick check. Caradhras is decreasing the willpower of all characters currently committed to the quest by 1. So my Northern Tracker is discarded. And that's the only character of mine that is.
Veteran Axe Hand is fine.
Yes, because of Dane, important viewers. So because Dane is ready, as soon as he exhausts, the Veteran Axe Hand dies. But that is that. Okay, so I think we're good to oh, sorry. So I've got to do the Snowstorm thing. So all copies of Snowstorm are shuffled back into the encounter deck. Here's 1, 2. I guess we've seen all 3 of those. So put them back in the encounter deck. There are 17 cards in the encounter deck, 3 of which are Snowstorm. I've got to cancel when revealed. You've got to cancel when revealed. We've got a bunch of copies of Untroubled by Darkness. So Matthew, looks like it's time to play out the rest of the game. So refresh. All right. So refresh. You are the first player. Arwen, I guess she decides in the end she wants to be with you, which is her choice. I was out of her league anyway. So I will draw 1 card as I wipe away a tear. I think Gleowine, I will have draw myself another card, which is garbage. But what are you doing for planning?
Nothing.
All right. Let's see. I could use an additional resource on, let me see, could I or could I not? I could take an additional resource on Biffer if you don't mind.
Sure.
From one of your tactics dudes, I think. Yeah, cool. Thank you. Okay, so Biffer's got that. You've got enough resources to cancel both things. So I will do 2 resources for, dang, I wish I had 1 more resource with which to put out 2 dwarves. So I will do Erebor Hammersmith, and I guess I'll pick myself to pop Ancient.
You don't want to save for Untroubled by Darkness?
Why?
So we can play 3 copies of it?
Yeah, why did I not think of that?
I don't know.
That's super weird. Yeah, that was my plan. So Ancient Matham, I will go ahead and return it. I forget where exactly it was. And I will... did I have 2 copies of... Okay, let's see. I moved Erebor Hammersmith to the table. I moved it to my hand. I moved it to the table. Did I have 2 Erebor Hammersmiths or 1?
I thought you just had 1, but I'm not 100%.
And I've got another in my hand. I guess I don't know. I'll err on the side of just having 1, because I don't recall. So, let's see. Actually, okay, so I did my resources. I moved a Hammersmith to the table. I moved a Hammersmith to the hand. I moved 1 to the hand. I moved 1 to the table. I moved 1 to the hand. Okay, I'm way too confused. But anyways, if we have 1 fewer super dwarf, it's not the end of the world. All right, so for your planning, anything?
I was first, and no.
Okay, I totally have confused the hell out of myself.
That's all right. The snow can be a daunting place.
Yeah, I guess. No kidding. I'm trying to think with a hypothermic brain. So I've done all of my planning for questing.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do 1 resource for good old sneak attack.
Enough! I am Gandalf, and Gandalf means me!
And I will put out Gandalf.
Okay.
And for my effect, I guess I'll drop my threat to 25, because drawing cards doesn't do me any good at this point.
Okay.
And you're sending, 6, 7, or whatever? Okay, so you're sending a bunch of stuff, and all questing characters are going to get -1 willpower. So before you send Veteran Axe Hand, we've got to do our Untroubled by Darkness, because otherwise it'll die. So you're playing 2 copies. I'll do 1 copy, and let's wait to add all this up, as we should be able to pass without too much trouble. Okay. So, for committing characters, I'm going to send everyone except for Dane Ironfoot. And note that Eowyn still has, well, I guess she's still got 2 willpower at the moment because of freezing cold, and she is not discarded. Okay, so we've done all of that. Shall we reveal encounter cards?
Yeah, we're just going to do our math at the end.
Yeah, might as well, because it's
Okay.
going to be a lot. Encounter card number 1 is Warg Lair. Do you want to cancel that effect? You may as well.
Are there worse things to cancel?
I guess if you can cancel 2 things, it doesn't really matter.
No, I cannot.
Oh, I thought you did have 2
No, I had to
as
do
well.
Snowstorm last turn.
Oh, okay. Do you have 0 test of wills?
No, I have 1.
Oh, okay.
That's why I'm asking, is there something worse to cancel?
No, there is not. So I will go ahead and do...
Snowstorms wouldn't be worse?
Well, we are only revealing 1 additional card, and we should be able to clear the...
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so anyway, I will throw out a test of will, cancel that effect, so it does not actually add another 2 threat to the staging area. Encounter card number 2 is Fanwoodall.
Figure.
We're up against a total of 6 threat. And now, hopefully, I don't feel like an idiot for wasting a test of will, but let's do our math here. So every dwarf committed to... Okay, so
It's +3.
every questing character gets -1, and then each dwarf gets +3. So I'll just do mine really quick. So Gandalf is 3, Beaufort makes it 5, Erebor Record Keeper is 6, Sigil Miner is 7, Miner of the Iron Hills keeps it at 7, Biffer makes it 9, Erebor Hammersmith is 10, and what do you have before...
Oh, I think I did mine correctly with all the modifications, but I will double count.
Okay, so what Matthew's got is, because Dane basically negates Caradhras, is he's got 3 and 4 because of Arwen, and then every dwarf character gets an additional 3 for each copy of Untroubled by Darkness, so I'm going to add 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18 to my total, so I've got 28.
So basically, it's like every dwarf is as printed. We're not counting Dane, we're not counting Caradhras, right?
Yes, right.
So +3, yeah.
Okay. And then Matthew gets, he's got 4 dwarves committed to the quest is his bonus.
Yep, my math is correct then.
Okay, so you've got a grand total of 17.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a grand total of 28, so that is going to be modified 45. So our active location absorbs 8 of those, which leaves us with 37. So I will go ahead and add that to our victory display. So 37 minus 3 is 34, minus Dimrol's Stare is 32, minus the Warg Lair is 31. So we're going to end up making 31 progress out of the 13 that we need. So players cannot defeat the stage unless they have 5 victory points, and it looks like we've got a grand total of 5 victory points, 3 from Caradhras, 2 from Celebdil. We've got all of our progress tokens. So, Matthew, it looks like we've managed to navigate through the Redhorn Gate, and we've almost delivered Arwen successfully to Rivendell. So, this wasn't 2 hours, but it was a pretty hefty video. So, what are your thoughts on the Redhorn Gate?
It definitely feels like a long, arduous trek through the snow, but not one that's boring. I was a little frustrated that I never really saw my dwarves. I had 2 more veteran axe hands to go, and I never drew a Sigil Minor. I just checked my deck here, and they're all pretty much towards the bottom. But yeah, 3 Untroubled by Darkness was pretty fun. We had plenty of cancellation. I don't think I've ever had so many cards in my hand, most of which were unnecessary, which is probably a good thing. So yeah, this is a fun one. I like the enemies. I like the snow theme. It's not one I'd want to play a lot because there is sort of that arduous nature of it, and with so few victory points, like it kind of sucks that there's 1 card with 1 because there's never a way to get another single, which is a little frustrating.
Yeah.
But the Shadow of the Past, man, that good inclusion in our decks there. I'm glad that it worked out and we didn't have to cycle so much because, man, we didn't get the other one until just now. That would have been pretty frustrating. We would have cleared Caradhras, and then I guess we would have had it this upcoming turn. But still. So, I don't know. It was a pretty fun one. What did you think?
Well, I definitely think an easy adjustment to make to this scenario would be adding a couple of victory points, or at least 1 victory point, to those mountain trolls, whether you're killing a nasty enemy or exploring a location, something to give you the ability to beat this scenario. We did kind of luck out with that really timely pull of a Shadow of the Past, and it kind of sucks when you have to build your deck just to make a scenario not more fun, but less unfun.
Right.
So I've had some nightmarishly long experiences playing through the Redhorn Gate. It kind of felt like we got a good control over the encounter deck pretty early on. Like, that's why there's so much combat crap in your deck, is just to make sure that we can establish ourselves against whatever nasty enemies could potentially crush us early on. And then once you deal with that, it's like, okay, here's an enemy that's... Or not, here's an enemy, here's a location that's not terribly threatening, here's a treachery that, we have to do math to see if they even have any effect at all. So it just seems like the Redhorn Gate is a long slog through the mountains. It's probably, God, I don't necessarily want to say my least favorite scenario so far, but it is definitely up there. Even the nature of the enemies isn't terribly fun. Like the Warg Lair... Putting wargs into play is just a lot of encounter cards coming out, which is annoying. It's cool that it's got a beneficial effect, but the wargs attacking and then likely returning to the staging area because there aren't a lot of shadow effects, that's got to be one of the most frustrating aspects of this game. So it just seems like this is a lot of annoying stuff. It's kind of like playing a adversarial game against a control player, where it just kind of makes for a miserable grind until you finally eke out a win. So, not a huge fan of this one, but it's done, and apart from the Nightmare version someday, I suppose we are through with it. So next up is going to be Road to Rivendell. Any final thoughts, Matthew, or...
No, I'm just ready to drop this elf off so we can be, on our way doing our own thing.
Yeah, for sure. So, next, Matthew and I will take a look at the player cards of Road to Rivendell. We'll finally figure out who that mysterious Eladan is that Elro here won't shut up about. But, Matthew, plug your podcast and let's close things out.
Well, if you would like an in-depth look at the Lord of the Rings LCG, focusing on strategy, deck building, and the metagame, be sure to check out the Great Company podcast.
As always, it certainly comes highly recommended. Thank you, viewers, for making it through this trek with Matthew and I. Together we survived the freezing cold, and I guess, what happens in sleeping bags, it's all for the good of keeping warm, I guess. I don't know. I'm not going to spread any rumors. But, Matthew, enjoy the rest of your extended weekend. Viewers, have a good one. See you all again soon for another episode of the Progression series. If you want to get in touch with me, I'm the Hive Tyrant on Facebook and Twitter. If you want to support the Progression series and its ongoing endeavors to cover all things LOTR, feel free to chip in $1 or $2 on a strictly monthly basis to the Patreon page as well. But thank you for watching, and see you again soon.